Hi, Nicole here from Sheba Nails. Today I'm going to be showing you how I remove the Gelcrylic system from my nails. Right now I'm just going to be doing the one finger. I've already done the other fingers. This one is 3 layers, and this happens to be from our Naughty Nude collection. This color is called Buff, B-U-F-F. Again, I said I had 3 layers, and the way you can soak this off, we have actually 2 formulations. We have a UV formulation, which is not a soak off, and it can only be cured in a UV lamp. But we also have, which is the one that I'm using, is a soak off formulation, and it's an UV LED, which means that you can cure it in either a UV or an LED lamp. And that's the one that I have here, again with 3 coats of the Naughty Nude powder in Buff. And today I'm going to be showing how to take it off in a pretty quick and a safe way, based on the fact that it is a soak off formulation. So this can be soaked off either with general removal solvents or even with just pure acetone, which is the way I'm going to be doing it today. I'm actually going to be using these acetone prep pads. I really like this method of doing it. It makes it just really easy, and it's disposable, so that's why I like to use them. I'm just going to be doing the one finger, but there's a good method when you're doing either. If you're doing it on yourself, would be 5 fingers at a time. If you're doing it on a client, you can do all 10 fingers at the same time. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and start with using my disinfectant sanitizer, and this is a good way to really start any process that you're doing when you're handling nails. And you can spray that just like that on your hands, and just go ahead and rub that in just like that. So then one of the best and most important things that you need to know for quick removal of any gel that is soak off is to remove this top layer of shine. Now you can do that with really almost any grit file, because you're not going to be touching the natural nail. In this case, I'm using an 80 grit file. So that's what I go ahead and do, and remove the shine completely from the nail. Okay, so I went ahead and removed the shine completely from the nail with my 8 grit file. And the importance of doing that step is when you're removing that shiny coat, it's really removing that seal of the gel, so it allows the acetone to go ahead and penetrate the layers of Gelcrylic or of gel that you have on your nail. And that's another good point, is that as Gelcrylic is put on the nail in layers, you're going to be doing the same thing in the removal process as removing it in layers. So it's not going to just soak off your nail. You have to actually go ahead and remove it in the layers that you put it on. So once you remove the shine, and I would do that to all of my nails, and then like I said, I was using these acetone prep pads. What I like about these is, besides the fact that they're disposable, they come inside with a piece of cotton prep pad already with acetone on it, and this packaging is almost like a foil, so it forms to the nail and stays on the nail really easily. So I put my finger inside, and I go ahead and wrap around the sidewalls like that, and then over the free edge just like that, making sure that the cotton is touching all on the nail. And what I would do is I would do it to this finger and all of my other fingers like this, and I would leave them on there, just kind of soaking or staying on there, penetrating the Gelcrylic layers. For the first, when you first do it, you want to do it maybe about 5 minutes. It doesn't even really take necessarily that long to at least start penetrating the first layers of the Gelcrylic or of gel. So like I said, you're just going to go ahead and leave that on for about 5 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so I've waited 5 minutes for the nails to go ahead and soak in the prep pad, and really only the wait time would be 5 minutes. If you're doing it on yourself and you're doing these 5 fingers, you have to wait 5 minutes before the first one starts. But if you're doing it on a client, the best way to do it would be prepare these 5 fingers with the prep pads on all 5, and then while these ones are soaking, you can go ahead and start prep on this one, which would be removing the shine from all the fingers, and then putting a prep pad or soak or whatever you have on each one of the fingers. And by the time you're done with that hand, you're ready to go ahead and start the removal process on this hand. So the way you do this is you do it one finger at a time. So I'm going to start with this one, but while you're doing this one finger, you're going to be leaving the prep pads on all the other fingers so that those remain soaking with the prep pads on them. So when you start doing this prep pad, remember, it has that cotton in there. So as you're removing it, you're going to be moving it back and forth, helping that top layer of product to loosen up. So you're twisting it and putting pressure on the nail, twist, twist, twist so it comes off. Now when you take this pad off, that first layer is already really gummy, so you want to immediately start scraping off that layer, and see how it just starts to just scrape off. And here I'm using actually an ingrown toenail remover that I use just for removal of gels, acrylics, and Gelcrylic. I like it. It's sanitizable and obviously reusable, and it has a small file on the inside that helps remove it. But at this point, you don't even need something like this. You could use a cuticle stick. You could use a file, even an 80 grit, because at this point you're not close to the natural nail, so it's safe to go ahead and do that. So really whatever you have on hand probably would work. So like I say, you just keep scraping off, and again, gel or acrylic or Gelcrylic is all put on in layers, and so you're going to be removing them in layers. So you'll notice when that top gummy layer has been removed and you can't really get any more. Once you've gone ahead and remove that top layer, you're going to go ahead and using the exact same prep pad, you're going to put it right back on the finger, mold it back on there, get it secure so that the cotton again is touching that entire finger, and then you would go ahead and start the process on the next finger. What you would go ahead and do while this one's on there, you would start with this finger, that same removal process, taking off the pad, scraping off the loose layer that has formed from the prep pad, put that pad back on, and you would go on to the next, and so on to all of the nails until you come back to this one. So while you're doing these, the other nails, the other ones have the prep pads on, and so by the time you've gone from this one all the way around and you're back to the where you started, this one is ready to go ahead and start taking off another layer of your product. So it's the same process. You're going to be applying some pressure and twisting to help remove and loosen up that layer. Take that off using, here's my metal file, or you can use a traditional file or cuticle stick. You go ahead and you'll see that top layer again just starts to just come right off, and you just start scraping away the product. And the amount of times that you're going to go ahead and do that same process really depends on how many layers you have on your nail. The more layers you have, the more that you obviously have to remove, and so it's going to take a few more passes to do that, but really is the safest way to remove product from your nails. So it's well worth the steps that you have to do to remove it. On traditional gel that is not soak off, the only way to do it is with a file, and that can be, you have to be really careful when you're doing that to not cause any damage to your nail. So the advantage of having a soak off formulation is that it can be removed. There's a process to it, but like I said, it is well worth it. So at this point, once you remove that layer, you can go ahead and put that same prep pad right back on there. Again, just form it so that the cotton inside is touching the entire nail, and then you would go ahead and take this one off, do the process on this, put the pad back on that one, take this one off, process, and like I said, all the way around until you've come back to this. And you would repeat that process as many times as it takes to actually remove the entire layer of nails. So being that I'm not doing these ones, I'm just going to wait a few more minutes like I did before. Probably maybe it was like a minute each nail, so by the time you get back to this nail, it's probably about 4 minutes in between. So I'm going to go ahead and wait 4 minutes before I take this one off to continue taking off the layers. Just a couple notes. Another thing that I like about this alcohol prep pad is this particular one, not only does it have the foil kind of paper that helps leave it on there, but it's also a lavender scent, so it's really, really nice. A little bit touched to have a nice scent of acetone on the nails, and it doesn't dry out the skin as much as a regular pure acetone might do. But again, you can really use anything, an form of acetone to remove it off. You can put it in a manicure bowl to soak. The only reason I don't like that method is it's good to have these other nails still with the acetone touching them, so that, and you can work one at a time. So if you're going to be using it, even if you're not going to be using prep pads but you're using acetone, you can use like the nail soakers that they have. You can even just use a cotton ball and soak it in acetone, put it on the finger and wrap foil around it and keep it on like that. So there's a lot of different ways, but the individual nail soaking like that is, I find, is the best way and less damaging and drying to the skin versus actually soaking in pure acetone. But whatever you have, you can make it work. So again, you'd just be waiting to get these layers softened up so that they can be removed. Okay, so it's been about 4 minutes since I've left this on there. I was just kind of basing that on the fact that I would be doing my other fingers about a minute each. So now we're back to this finger after you've done the other ones. Again, these other fingers would have the same acetone prep pad on it while I'm doing this. And it's the same process. Twist with pressure. And using your stick, you go ahead and remove anything that's remaining. Now at this point, it looks like it's just have some on my tips here. And the rest of it has all been removed. So that was my third pass. So it's about 1 pass per layer that you need to go ahead and remove your product. Is a good rule of thumb as far as how many times it's going to take to get those gel acrylic off, and also about how much time it takes to remove a set of gel acrylic nails. It's a good way to know if you're going to be doing on a client and you charge for removal. You can go ahead and base your time on that. So once I've seen that all that product is removed from the nail, at this point I'm no longer going to be using a file. I can go ahead and use a buffer. This is a 240 grit buffer to just buff off any loose remaining product that's on there. Just like that, real gentle. Clean up the nail around the cuticle. At this point, you can go ahead and continue with your traditional manicure to get ready for your next either polish or to reapply the gel acrylic. And because you've been using the acetone on the nails, I really like to condition the skin as well as the nail. So I like to use a good cuticle oil. Here I'm using our botanical oil. This is called Sweet Apple. It has a really nice scent to it. And I'll just go ahead and brush that on each of the nails. Just like that. Because that acetone can be a bit drying. So this is a good time to go ahead and condition that. And you have your nail all ready to go for either polish or your next application. And you can just go ahead and discard these. Like I said, those are disposable. That's one thing that I like about that. And that's how easy it is and safe to remove a gel acrylic system. But this is also the same process that you would use for either acrylic or another traditional soak-off gel system that you might be using. To go ahead and remove it. The most important thing I said about the gel would be to remove that top layer of shine that you have so that the acetone can penetrate the layers of product that you have on the nail. And then you would repeat the process for removing each layer one at a time from the nail until you have your nail completely free of product. Okay, so I went ahead and I applied oil to all of the fingers to make sure that I've conditioned them real well after you're using acetone on them. That's a good point to do that. And so now you're either ready for a polish, or you're just going to be having your natural nails, or you're ready to go ahead and apply a new layers of gel acrylic or whatever product you're going to be using. But remember, it's important that if you use cuticle oil on the skin, that oil can cause lifting of any product you're going to be applying. So even though you've conditioned with the cuticle oil, at this point you're going to want to wash the hands real well with some soap and warm water to get rid of that cuticle oil, that layer that hasn't been penetrated onto the nail, to make sure that you're ready for your next product. And I also like to, before using any product, either use, of course, the disinfectant sanitizer, and then after that, a nice dehydrator. I like the pH Prep Nail Dehydrator that gets the nails really ready to prevent any lifting prior to putting on any product. It removes any oils and dehydrates the nail. And of course, with our systems, gel acrylic system as well as our other systems, the primer that you use for the nail is always optional. If you're prone to lifting, you want to go ahead and use the primer. If you have really long nails, or you just notice that your skin is oily and you tend to have some lifting around the cuticle area or even the free edge, you can go ahead and use the nail primer. That really helps with adhesion of any kind of artificial nail product. I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you were able to get some good tips from how to remove a Gelcrylic product from the nails. And again, that system is good for either Gelcrylic or any gel system, as well as acrylic system. The main points are is as these products are applied in layers, you're going to be removing them in layers, and that is the basis of removing artificial nail products from the nails in a safe manner. Thank you very much.